Can I recreate Penn Badgley's wife's playful Father's Day post? Father's Day has slowly turned into one of those moments on social media where timelines are filled with emotional captions, carefully chosen photos, and public expressions of gratitude. Across platforms, celebrities, influencers, and everyday users all join in, sharing messages that celebrate fathers, partners, and the experience of parenting. While many of these posts are heartfelt and sincere, they often follow a familiar pattern that can start to feel repetitive after a while. Most traditional Father's Day tributes tend to focus on appreciation in a very straightforward way. They highlight love, respect, and admiration. They thank fathers for their support, acknowledge their sacrifices, and often include sentimental reflections about family life. There is nothing wrong with this approach. It is meaningful and important, but over time, audiences have become used to seeing similar language repeated again and again across different accounts. Because of this, the posts that stand out are usually the ones that break the pattern slightly. Instead of relying only on emotional language, they introduce personality. They feel more conversational, more spontaneous, and sometimes even humorous. These kinds of tributes tend to feel less like formal announcements, and more like glimpses into real relationships, complete with jokes, teasing, and shared understanding. In celebrity culture especially, this difference becomes even more noticeable. Public figures are often expected to present polished versions of their lives. Their posts are usually curated, visually perfect, and carefully worded. That is why when a celebrity or their partner posts something playful or lightly humorous on an occasion like Father's Day, it immediately captures attention. It feels less staged and more human. Penn Badgley, known for his work in television and film, is one of those public figures who often attracts attention not just for his roles, but also for his personal life. His relationship with his wife, Domino Kirk, has been of interest to fans who appreciate that they do not constantly present their relationship as a performance. Instead, they appear to share a more grounded and private dynamic, occasionally giving the public small glimpses into their life together. When Father's Day comes around in families like theirs, the expectations from fans are often shaped by curiosity. People want to see how celebrities balance humor, love, and authenticity in a public post. While many partners of public figures choose very traditional messages, some opt for a more playful tone that reflects real-life dynamics in a different way. What makes a playful Father's Day tribute so effective is that it feels like a conversation, rather than a statement. Instead of simply praising someone in formal language, it reflects shared experiences. It might include gentle teasing, references to everyday habits, or small jokes that only make full sense within the relationship itself. Even though the audience is not part of that private world, they are still able to sense the closeness behind it. This is where humor plays a powerful role. Humor in relationships is not just about making each other laugh, it is also a form of connection. Couples often develop their own language of jokes and playful comments that reflect comfort and trust. When this dynamic appears in a public Father's Day post, it tends to resonate with audiences because it feels real rather than constructed. Many people scrolling through social media are not necessarily looking for perfection. Instead, they are drawn to moments that feel relatable. Parenting in particular is something that is widely understood to be imperfect, unpredictable, and sometimes chaotic. A message that acknowledges this reality in a lighthearted way often feels more honest than one that presents an idealized version of family life. That is why playful tributes often gain more attention than traditional ones. They create a balance between affection and humor. The affection ensures the message remains meaningful, while the humor makes it engaging and memorable. Together, these elements give the post a personality that stands out in a crowded digital space. In the context of celebrity posts, this approach also helps bridge the gap between public image and private life. Fans are used to seeing celebrities in highly controlled environments on screen, in interviews, or on red carpets. Social media offers a rare opportunity to see something that feels less polished. When a playful Father's Day message appears, it gives the impression that the audience is being let into a more genuine moment, even if only briefly. However, creating this kind of post is not as simple as it might seem. There is a delicate balance involved. If a message is too humorous, it risks undermining the emotional importance of the occasion. If it is too serious, it may blend in with countless other posts. The most effective tributes usually sit somewhere in between, where humor enhances rather than replaces sincerity. A successful playful tribute often starts with observation. Real-life relationships are full of small details that outsiders do not always see. These can include funny habits, repeated conversations, or shared experiences that become ongoing jokes over time. When these elements are included in a Father's Day message, even briefly, they instantly make the post feel more personal. Tone is just as important as content. The same sentence can feel completely different depending on how it is framed. A light tease, for example, can come across as affectionate if it is clearly rooted in love and familiarity. On the other hand, without that foundation, humor can be misinterpreted. That is why the most memorable posts usually feel warm even when they are joking. Another important aspect of these tributes is timing and context. Father's Day itself is already an emotionally charged occasion. It is a day that carries expectations of gratitude and reflection. When humor is introduced into that setting, it creates contrast. That contrast often makes the message more engaging, because it breaks the predictability of the moment. Social media also plays a major role in how these posts are received. A message shared online is not just seen by close friends or family, it is seen by a wide and diverse audience. This includes fans, critics, and casual viewers who may interpret the message in different ways. Because of this, even a light-hearted comment can become a topic of discussion far beyond its original intent. In celebrity culture, this effect is amplified even further. Public figures do not just communicate with their personal circle, they communicate with millions of people at once. This means that every word has the potential to be analyzed, shared, and reinterpreted. A playful tone that feels natural in a private setting can take on new meaning when viewed through a public lens. Despite this, playful Father's Day tributes continue to be popular because they offer something that highly polished posts often lack: personality. They remind audiences that behind the public image, there are real relationships with humor, imperfections, and emotional depth. Many people find these kinds of posts refreshing because they reflect how real life actually works. Parenting, for example, is not a perfectly structured experience. It is often messy, tiring, joyful, and unpredictable all at once. A message that captures even a small part of that reality tends to resonate more strongly than one that presents an idealized version. This is why humorous tributes often feel more memorable. They do not just celebrate a person, they tell a small story. Even a short playful comment can suggest years of shared experiences and understanding between two people. That sense of depth is what audiences respond to, even if they only see a few lines on a screen. For anyone thinking about recreating a similar style of Father's Day post, the key is not imitation, but interpretation. It is not about copying someone else's tone or phrasing, but about understanding what makes those posts effective. At the core, it is about authenticity combined with personality. A good playful tribute usually starts with genuine appreciation. Without that foundation, humor can feel empty. Once that sincerity is in place, light humor can be added in a way that feels natural. This might include a gentle tease, a funny observation, or a small reference to everyday life that others may not fully understand, but still find charming. The goal is not to entertain a large audience, but to reflect a real relationship in a way that feels honest. Ironically, that is often what makes these posts so widely shared. They feel less like performances and more like real moments. Over time, social media has changed how people view celebrations like Father's Day. What used to be private expressions of gratitude are now often shared publicly, turning personal messages into part of a larger cultural conversation. This shift has created both opportunities and challenges. It allows people to express love more openly, but it also exposes personal moments to public interpretation. In this environment, playful tributes stand out because they manage to feel both personal and public at the same time. They are crafted for a wide audience, yet they still retain the intimacy of a private joke. That balance is what makes them so compelling. Ultimately, whether the tone is humorous or serious, the purpose of a Father's Day message remains the same: to acknowledge presence, effort, and connection. Humor does not take away from that purpose, it simply expresses it in a different way. And that is what makes playful tributes so effective. They remind people that relationships are not one-dimensional. They include laughter as much as gratitude, jokes as much as appreciation, and lightness as much as meaning. So when people see a post that blends humor with affection, it stands out not because it is unusual, but because it feels familiar in a very human way. It reflects how real relationships actually function behind closed doors. In the end, recreating that kind of Father's Day post is less about copying a celebrity style, and more about capturing a feeling. It is about expressing appreciation in a way that feels alive, personal, and slightly imperfect. In other words, real.